No one ever imagined that a lion, the symbol of strength and pride, would one day lie helpless beneath a rotting tree trunk, waiting for a human to come to its rescue. Beneath the scorching sun of the red desert in the American West, where sandstone towers rise like ancient fortresses, there lived a quiet man doing a job few paid attention to. He was a ranger named Jack. Jack was not a remarkable man. He lived a simple life, driving an old pickup truck through dusty roads, checking on wildlife, picking up trash, and occasionally freeing antelopes stuck in wire fences. But that day, on his way back to the station after a long and tiring shift, something made him stop. Far ahead, a large shape was writhing beneath a fallen, rotting tree trunk across the path. As he approached, Jack froze in shock. It was a male lion, its golden mane covered in dust, and its eyes, the eyes of a king, were now full of pain and despair. The lion was trapped, unable to move. Perhaps it had gotten lost from its pride, or was migrating through unfamiliar territory. When a powerful wind knocked the heavy tree down upon it, Jack knew that without help the lion would die alone, and its body would be picked apart by vultures. An unworthy end for such a proud creature. Without hesitation, Jack pulled out a crowbar, straps, and his gloves. He approached the lion and whispered, "Easy there, buddy. I'm going to help." Despite the danger, he crouched beside the tree and used all his strength to lever it. Sweat ran down his face, dust clung to his sleeves, but he didn't stop. The lion didn't roar or swipe, just lay there, breathing heavily, its eyes softening, as if it understood this man meant no harm. After nearly an hour of struggle, the trunk finally shifted just enough for the lion to crawl out. It collapsed onto the sand, then slowly rose to its feet and looked long and hard at Jack. That look, it wasn't from a beast, but from a soul that understood it had been saved. Without a roar, the lion turned and walked away, its mane flowing in the desert wind. Jack sat down in the sand, exhausted but with a weight lifted from his heart. Weeks passed since that day. Life seemed to return to normal. Jack went back to patrolling, noting wildlife, and occasionally sitting alone beneath the sparse trees, remembering that strange moment. But what he didn't know was that far away in the Red Valley, a family of lions often spoke of the man who saved the king. The male lion, now fully healed, had never forgotten the kindness in Jack's eyes, and he knew this human deserved respect, even protection. And then, one early morning, Jack was sipping coffee on the porch of his small desert hut, when a golden figure appeared at the edge of the brush. Not just one, but 5 figures. The male lion in front, followed by a graceful lioness and 3 lively cubs. They approached, not roaring, just walking gently, as if they already knew the man before them was a friend. Jack stood up, setting his cup down. His heart raced. He had no idea what was about to happen, but the lion stepped closer, lifting his head to meet Jack's gaze. This time, not with pain, but with deep respect and gratitude. Then, unexpectedly, the lioness stepped forward and gently placed a small gift on the ground. A fresh cactus branch. A rare desert symbol that the animals of the region considered a bonding offering. A mark of kinship, a silent message. You are one of us. We protect our own. From that day on, Jack was never truly alone during his patrols. Somewhere across the sand dunes, behind the dry shrubs, or among the towering rocks, there were always watchful eyes, silent, unseen, but full of loyalty. Locals whispered tales of a lone ranger living among the wilderness, watched over by an entire lion family. But Jack never told anyone the truth. He simply smiled each time the wind whispered across the sand, like the distant echo of an old friend's roar. The story of Jack and the lion family spread through the desert like wildfire, whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones at local diners. Some dismissed it as mere legend, a tall tale spun by bored rangers. Others swore they had seen the lions following Jack's truck from a distance, golden shadows moving silently through the brush. Jack himself remained tight-lipped about the whole affair. When pressed, he'd simply shrugged and say, "The desert's full of mysteries. Best to let them be." But those who knew him well noticed a change. There was a new light in his eyes, a sense of purpose that went beyond his usual dedication to his job. As the months passed, Jack's encounters with the lion family became more frequent. He'd spot them watching from afar as he repaired fences or cleared trails. Sometimes on particularly hot days, he'd find fresh kills left near his usual rest spots, a gift from his silent guardians. One day, while tracking a group of lost hikers, Jack found himself in unfamiliar territory. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the red rocks, when he heard a low growl. Turning slowly, he saw a mountain lion crouched on a ledge above him, eyes gleaming with predatory intent. Jack's hand moved towards his sidearm, but before he could draw, a thunderous roar split the air. Ash, the male lion. His lion burst from behind a boulder, positioning himself between Jack and the threat. The mountain lion hesitated, then slunk away, unwilling to challenge this unexpected defender. As the adrenaline faded, Jack found himself face to face with his old friend. The lion's amber eyes held a mixture of fierce protectiveness and what Jack could only describe as affection. Without thinking, Jack reached out and gently stroked the lion's mane. The great beast leaned into his touch, a deep purr rumbling in its chest. That night, as Jack made camp, the entire lion family appeared. They settled around his fire, the cubs playfully tumbling over each other, while the adults kept watch. For the first time, Jack truly understood the depth of the bond he had formed with these magnificent creatures. As word of Jack's unique relationship with the lions spread, it began to change how people viewed the desert and its inhabitants. Poaching incidents decreased, and there was a renewed interest in conservation efforts. Tourists flocked to the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of the lion whisperer and his unusual family. Jack found himself reluctantly thrust into the spotlight. He used his newfound fame to advocate for better protection of the desert ecosystem and its wildlife. He spoke at schools and community centers, sharing stories of the intelligence and compassion he had witnessed in the animals he encountered. Years passed and Jack grew older. His hair turned gray and his steps became slower. But every morning, he'd still drive out into the desert, and every evening he'd return with new stories of his adventures with the lions. On a crisp autumn day, as the desert prepared for winter, Jack didn't return from his patrol. Search parties were sent out, combing the vast expanse of red rock and sand. It was 2 days before they found him, peacefully resting beneath an old juniper tree, a smile on his weathered face. And there, curled protectively around him, was the entire lion family. They had stayed with him until the end, guarding their friend on his final journey. As the rescue team approached, the lions rose and melted away into the desert, their mission complete. Jack's legacy lived on. The area where he had worked was turned into a wildlife preserve, dedicated to protecting the delicate balance of the desert ecosystem. And though no one ever saw the lion family again, rangers and visitors alike swore they could sometimes hear a distant roar on the wind. A reminder of the extraordinary bond between a simple man and the kings of the desert. In the years that followed, Jack's story became more than just a local legend. It inspired a new generation of conservationists and animal lovers, reminding people of the deep connections that can form between humans and the natural world. Documentaries were made, books were written, and Jack's small desert hut was turned into a museum, showcasing his life's work and the incredible friendship he had forged with the lions. But perhaps the most lasting impact was the change in how people viewed the desert itself. Once seen as a harsh, unforgiving place, it was now recognized as a complex ecosystem full of life and hidden wonders. Visitors came not just to see the spectacular landscapes, but to experience the magic that Jack had discovered. The subtle beauty and unexpected kindness that could be found in the most unlikely places. And so, though Jack was gone, his spirit lived on in every ranger who patrolled those red rocks, in every child who marveled at the desert's mysteries, and in every person who looked into the eyes of a wild creature and saw not a beast, but a fellow being worthy of respect and protection. The desert wind still whispers his name, carrying with it the memory of a man who taught us all that sometimes the greatest acts of heroism are born from simple kindness, and that even in the wildest places there is room for friendship to bloom.